Hello, YouTube. Got another volume to do. A friend of mine bought some stuff from Tamaya recently. He has the volume 2 of this, which I'm trying to get. Called a little bit far back. They said they didn't have him, but he got his with his order, which upsets me. I really need that so I can continue to bring stuff to you. Why I can't run cars. Because of health reasons with me, it's can't run cars too well, and it's cold, and I don't know really want to snap plastic. So I digress. So here's volume 1 of 2021. Hopefully I will get volume 2 soon. As you see, this is what's on this and this. There you go. This is their newest tipper truck. Like all the trucks, you get a 3-speed transmission. You have to buy an actuator for the tipper part of this truck. This. It's the trucks again that you can get from last year. I'm sure you can still get some of these trucks for sure. Of course, hop-ups, I don't know if there's necessarily any new hop-ups here, but there could be. These are their model optional parts. Small tanks, 1/16 and smaller tanks. Because I go to 1/25 and 135th scale too for RC cars, RC tanks, sorry, RC tanks. So I have some friends who have this vehicle. Rex RC has run this vehicle, if you want to see the video. And Trail Critter. You can see a video of this car being run there too, the quad track, the Land Freeder, the TT02FT. I have this car. Problem is, I need to get these tires and rims because what the surfaces I've been running on, kind of gritty, sandy baseball diamond stuff, has riddled these down to nubs, and I can't seem to get these rims. But I know they make these tires because these tires are on the holiday buggy, and they have yellow versions of these. I guess could have those painted this color or close to it if I wanted to use them. I had the white one of this with the red, white, and blue and yellow when it first came out. This is definitely prettier than that one. But I would, if they came out with that white one, I would want that one too because I had that one. I used to dirt track oval this car with some friends years ago, decades ago. Won a couple races with it against their associated in a small oval track associated in Losi. It was pretty funny that I would beat them with that car. This is the best handling hopper chassis. This is a DT01. This is longer and wider than the usual hoppers. So this is the best hopper you can buy because of the longer wheelbase and wider width. It's a live axle, of course. I have this one. This is supposed to come with a decal. I had to paint this part because the person who put the decals on said it didn't have these, which is weird. Why wouldn't it be on the sheet? So I painted it to break up the black because I did paint this. And the Thunder Dragon and the Fire Dragon. The Thundershot is coming out. I think it's on these chassis. I could be wrong. That's the new one. I'm hoping they come out with the Super Saber too, which was around when these were. Oh, and this Black Edition Grasshopper 2 has... Ignore these shocks here. That's for the regular Grasshopper 2 Black Edition. This Black Edition came with CVA shocks. So I have CVA shocks on this because it came with it in the kit. Trust me, it makes a hell of a difference to run these with this with with 4 CVA shocks. And a lot of people have a problem with this body. You know, I personally like the look of this body, but people who said they didn't like the look of this body said this in this decaled this way and color, it looks better for that car. I have this, haven't built it yet. Can't wait to. Got so many other cars to build before that. I'm putting a 3600 in this one. 3600 kV motor in it. This has a posi rear end on it. It's a beautiful car. I would have liked to own a Top Force and Top Force Evolution. Never owned any of those. But they're quite popular, and they're not cheap kits. Either is this. And then you got, oh, I have this one. I would like this car too, the XR311. I would like to see them come out with the Cheetah version of this. It has different tires and rims for it, and of course a different body. It's an LM002 Lamborghini, but it's 2-wheel drive, and the rear axle is posi. This, my friend Adam is making for me. I sent that to him. I have this car. I'm halfway finished with this car, practically the Super Hot Shot. I used to have this when it was called the Super Shot. He's painting that. The little man stopped me because the little man in this is molded into the middle part of the chassis. So that needed to be done. And I'm not good with painting and decaling. So it's over on the way over to him. And hopefully he'll be getting it soon. I'm waiting for the paints for this one because I have this. Needs to be painted and decaled. Of course, I have the Grasshopper. I have the Terra Scorcher. When I get around to this, I have to buy a 4,000 kV motor for this because I've seen this run with a 4,000 kV. And it's very fast, and it can handle it. I also have this version of the Grasshopper 2, which I'm going to make stock, but with a better motor. I have the Blackfoot. Of course, I have the Frog. I got to get electronics for that right now, and I'm in the middle of building that. Decent amount of people have this car too. This is my second favorite body that they have for it. I prefer the gunmetal one, which is down here. I didn't know that they still had the Neo Scorcher, but you can still get the Neo Scorcher, I think. I've only seen one video with this car. This is a hack. It's a DN01. And I'm surprised more people haven't tried to look for it and get it for themselves. As you can see, it's based on like on a DTO2, but there is differences because of the way the shocks are positioned in the front, and the body's different. They still make the double impact. The dark impact. They used to have a white one with white plastic for this. White CVAs and stuff. It was a white edition. I would really like to have a DTO3, but I got so many cars right now that's going to have to wait. I've never owned a TTO2, by the way, or a TTO1. So I think there is a new CCO2 body coming out for what? Oh yes, it's the Defender 91, and it's gonna be on this chassis, and I think it's gonna be on the shorter wheelbase. I could be wrong, because this can be put into 3 different wheelbases. The CCO2. So at this moment, there's going to be a old Defender 90 body style that's coming out soon for this chassis. Of course, here's the Hotshot 2, the Hotshot Comical, sorry, not 2. That is also 4-wheel drive, just like the Avanti version. And as you see here, these are rear-wheel drive. I have this one. I'm going to get CVA shocks for this. I have a Midnight Pumpkin, but a metallic special. I'm getting CVA shocks for this. And I have a regular lunchbox like this one, too. Gonna put a torque tune motor on it. This, I might put a dirt tune motor in it. And this one, the metallic special, I'm putting a sport tuned on it. And I'm probably gonna, at this point, get separate receivers and transmitters for all my monster trucks. I only have 5 positions left on my radio link. I'd have to buy another radio link to put on some more cars. Probably gonna have separate receivers and transmitters for those. Oh, I think I forgot to show you something. Let's see if it's here. Oh, they don't show it here. I'm surprised. I think Mark Bryan is doing videos. He's done a couple videos with this GFO1 TR version of the Monster Beetle with the 4-wheel drive and portal axles. It is considered a 14 scale, I think, because it's not a 10 scale body of it. I don't know the name of there's a guy online who has put extended A-arms on this, and it handles really good with the extended arms out. Oh God, another 1 inch or more. He couldn't flip it. It was going pretty fast. If I owned a CR01, it'd be the Rock Soccer. You know, a lot of people hate that as a crawler. They prefer the CCO1s and CCO2s, even though those are more trail runners. But I would still own one. This is the newest one of the G601s, and of course this one has the portal axles, as you see here. Full-time 4-wheel drive with 3-speed transmission. 3-speed transmission with a transfer case that puts it in 2-wheel drive in 2nd and 3rd gear. Oh, these are under $1,000 now. They're being sold for, by the way, the Bruisers. Some people have this one. uh, of the TT02 of the Ford GT. This was the last year, or actually last year. Last year was the last year they made this car, and they put more horsepower in it, and they did some more modifications to it, and there was very special limited production versions of it for the 1-to-1. So, but they're not racing them anymore, which is kind of sad. I think this is a beautiful car. The Mustang in this setup with the decals and the color. I've seen some people have this one, the 1998 Ford Escort Custom. This car I've seen run with the four-wheel drive MF-01X chassis, but I've also seen someone say, because it was a two-wheel drive in real life, that they got an M08 and they put this body on the M08 chassis because it's rear-wheel drive, like it really should be. Okay, as you see here, these both have the same, pretty much the same decals almost. Technically, this is basically, if this was a 1-to-1, this is like the Audi Quattro of the 80s. Smaller, shorter wheelbase car. They're both on the same chassis here. This car is wider in real life and longer wheelbase in real life, and I don't know if they actually did anything with the chassis to make it longer than this one, when in real life it should be. And Tobias is supposed to be used to really go to town and make everything exactly to specs, 10 times smaller. Yeah, this is basically either an A4 or A6 in size car, because this has a V8 in it in real life. This had a 5-cylinder with a turbo. So obviously you can still get these cars probably. The Supra, I haven't seen many people do the Supra body, TT02 or TT01, which is sad because I like the new Supra's body. Even though it's a BMW under there with, and then the Japanese did their own little thing with it. This technically in real life, the Mazda 3 now has in real life with the 1-to-1 has an all-wheel drive system on it, so this is perfectly fine on a TT02. And they put a 250 horsepower engine in it to boot to go with it. There's some people doing some drift models of this. Someone's doing this drift model. People say who do drifting say this is power drifter because it's all-wheel drive and it doesn't have the same turning radius as true drift cars, but they still have nice bodies. I don't know why they would use they used the Honda on the four-wheel drive chassis. It should have been on a front-wheel drive chassis like an FF, but not for drifting. Of course, I'm a big fan of the TC01. And here they have the F104 Pro 2 chassis for a Indy or Formula One car. Of course, here's the hop-ups for it. Here's the underside of the chassis. Looks like it's carbon fiber. RC Kicks did this car. They had this car a while back. They had this on a TL01 chassis back in the day. And then they brought it back and they put it on the TA02, which is the last of the shaft-driven TAOs. Because anything from TAO 3 and onward is belt-driven. And here's the TB05R. I'm sure this chassis here is close to $1,000 because this is their race version of it. For the touring cars. And of course, the 14 scale racing semis that they do in Europe. And there it shows some of their hop-ups. So, I don't know, I forgot who has a video of this car running in the dirt. This one has this front wheel drive car. It's has rally tires on it. It's one of a few that have it, but I've only seen this car from someone who's driving this in the dirt. On the M05 Rally, it's called the M05RA. And here's the more race-ready versions of the M07 here. It's more of a race chassis. And then here's the more race chassis of the two-wheel drives, the M08. Of course, the M06. So, this is on the right chassis, this VW bus. But they have a hippie van one that has all the colors and the decals that are like from what people used to paint on these. And they put it on a front-wheel drive chassis. What sense does that make if they already have this on a two-wheel drive chassis? They could have put that body on the two-wheel drive chassis of the M06. Here's the gearbox of how it looks on the inside of the M08. It's the gears. Comes with that aluminum for the motor, aluminum plate. And of course, here's the front-wheel drive version of the M07. Here's the way the gearbox looks in that. I've had an M01 chassis. Wish they would come back out with all the previous M chassis. Those were a lot. The M01 was a fun car. I didn't even need to put oil-filled dampers. It handled so well. And it would squeal around turns when I put a 27-turn, 35-degree motor on it back then. It would squeal, and it would lean just like the car would in real life. It's real low to the ground, too. And it only had monoshock front and rear. This is a fairly popular vehicle, the Rally Bug, the MF-01X of that. Now this drive shaft here is pretty thick. It reminds me of the TL01 drive shaft. Thick, solid through and through drive shaft. So there's no wobble in it. At least that's what I think it looks like to me. It looks like this is a solid through and through drive shaft. And of course, when you look at the MF-01Xs, these are the mini versions of the four-wheel drives. Four-wheel drive minis of the M chassis. Expensive car. You could get even a long shock throw version of this in its own separate box. They have one that has the long shock version of it. Expensive, handles well. And of course, the SW01 chassis, you see the mini lunchbox in this. I think it's called the Mud Mad. Yeah. And of course, it has four-wheel drive, four-wheel steering. And if you look at the suspension, it's strut-type suspension on it. They haven't done a third body of this. I heard there could be a third body coming out. I could be wrong. Of these. This one I think is the best looking, the dual rider. And they don't have the expert builds anymore. This is the closest thing you can get to one of them. The XSAs. It requires the RC equipment and power source. So you have to come up with the electronics for these, but they're expert built and painted and stuff like that, but they do not still put ball bearings in them. And as you can see, the XSA comes in the Hornet, the Lunchbox, and the DTO3 racing fighter. Now, they don't seem to have all that list on the back of the last two catalogs anymore. I don't know why they stopped doing that, but they don't. Hopefully, I will get the volume 2 of 2021 because it's out and I've seen it and it has the TD for it and some other things. So don't forget, if you live in the United States, I know you can get these catalogs for free by calling them up in California, in Irvine, at their headquarters there. So if any of you are interested in getting any of these, they still might have some old ones left, like the 2017 that you can get. You can ask what old catalogs they have left lying around. They can give you those too, but